"Your kids don't deserve that vacation," Mom announced at Sunday dinner, her fork pointing accusingly across the table. "Not after refusing to share their room with your sister's kids. Do you know how disappointed those poor children were?" I looked down at my plate, feeling the familiar weight of family judgment settling over me like a heavy blanket. The roast beef sat untouched, suddenly unappetizing. My 2 children, Emma and Jake, sat beside me in silence, their earlier excitement about our planned beach trip completely deflated. Emma's shoulders were hunched forward, her usual brightness dimmed. Jake pushed peas around his plate without eating. "They wanted their own space for once," I said quietly. "We've shared accommodations on every family trip for the past 5 years." "That's what family does," my sister Jennifer interjected, her voice dripping with righteousness. "My kids were looking forward to spending time with their cousins. But apparently yours are too good for that now." Dad set down his glass with a deliberate thunk. "Selfish behavior shouldn't be rewarded. Maybe you should reconsider that beach house rental. Teach them a lesson about family values." I glanced at Emma, who was 11 and had been so excited about finally having her own room on vacation. Jake, at 9, had asked if he could bring his telescope to watch stars from a private balcony. Simple requests. Normal childhood desires for a bit of independence. "They're just kids," I tried to explain. "Spoiled kids," Jennifer corrected. "When mine were that age, they never complained about sleeping on air mattresses in shared spaces. They understood sacrifice." Mom nodded vigorously. "Exactly. You're raising them to be entitled. This vacation would only make it worse. Cancel it. Use that money for something practical." The pressure in my chest built steadily, but I kept my expression neutral. "I'll think about it." "Don't think," Mom commanded. "Do the right thing. Those children need to learn consequences." I drove home in silence while Emma and Jake stared out the windows. Neither asked about the beach house. They'd learned, as I had years ago, that hoping for things in our family often led to disappointment. That night, after tucking them into bed, I sat at my laptop. The beach house rental confirmation glowed on the screen. $20,000 for 2 weeks in a modest coastal property. I'd saved for 18 months. Working extra freelance projects, skipping lunches, budgeting every dollar. But Mom's words echoed in my mind. Jennifer's judgment. Dad's disappointment. My finger hovered over the cancellation button. Then I looked at the photo pinned to my bulletin board. Me at their age, squeezed into a corner during a family vacation, giving up my bed for cousins, sleeping on floors, always accommodating, always last. I closed the beach house tab. Instead, I opened a different browser window and began searching for something else entirely. 3 days later, I sent a brief text to the family group chat. "Cancelled beach house rental. You were right." Mom's response came immediately. "Good. Proud of you for making the mature decision." Jennifer added, "This will be good for them in the long run." I didn't respond. I was too busy finalizing other arrangements. The following week, I picked up Emma and Jake from school with their suitcases already packed in the trunk. "Where are we going?" Emma asked cautiously, as if afraid to hope. "Vacation," I said simply. "But Grandma said." "Grandma doesn't decide how I parent my children." Jake's eyes widened. "Really? We're really going somewhere?" "Really?" I didn't tell them where. I wanted to see their faces when we arrived. The airport was busy, but we moved through security smoothly. I'd prepared everything meticulously. Passports, documents, travel insurance. Emma held her small backpack carefully, treating the journey with reverence. When we reached the gate, she finally read the departure board. "Mom," she whispered, her voice shaking. "This says Maldives." "It does." "Like the actual Maldives? The islands in the Indian Ocean?" "The very same." Jake grabbed my hand, speechless for the first time in his life. His eyes were wide, reflecting the departure board's glow. The flight was long but comfortable. We had proper seats with entertainment systems and meals served on real trays. Emma watched 3 movies. Jake stared out the window for hours, mesmerized by clouds and ocean. When we landed, a resort representative met us with cold towels and welcome drinks. The speedboat ride to our overwater villa took 30 minutes, cutting through turquoise water so clear I could see fish swimming below. Our villa had 2 bedrooms, each with its own bathroom and balcony extending over the ocean. Emma stood in her room, staring at the glass floor panel that revealed water and marine life below, and started crying. "What's wrong?" I asked, alarmed. "Nothing's wrong," she sobbed. "Everything is perfect. This is the most beautiful place I've ever seen." Jake discovered the telescope in his room, left there at my request during booking. That night he identified constellations from his private deck while tropical fish swam in the illuminated waters below. We spent our days snorkeling, kayaking, and eating fresh fruit on our balcony. We took exactly one photo, a sunset shot from our villa deck with Emma and Jake silhouetted against an orange and pink sky. I posted it to social media with a simple caption: "Sometimes the right choice is the unexpected one." Within minutes, my phone began buzzing. Jennifer's message came first: "This is completely unfair." Then Mom: "I thought you canceled your vacation?" Dad: "How can you afford this?" I turned off my phone and returned to watching my children play in the shallow water near our villa, their laughter carrying across the lagoon. The messages continued to pile up over the next few days, though I checked them only once daily. Jennifer had apparently researched Maldives resort costs. Her texts grew increasingly agitated. "Do you know how much those overwater villas cost? That's months of mortgage payments, years of car insurance, college fund money." Mom organized a family video call which I declined to join. She left a voicemail: "We need to discuss your financial decisions. This is irresponsible. Those children don't understand the value of money now. You've ruined them." My cousin Sarah, who had always been kind, sent a different kind of message: "Good for you. I remember how many vacations you gave up for everyone else. Enjoy every second." On our 5th day, while Emma was learning to paddleboard and Jake was examining hermit crabs with a resort naturalist, my phone rang from an unknown number. "Is this Amanda?" a woman's voice asked. "Yes. This is Patricia from Luxury Travel Magazine. Your recent Instagram post was flagged by our algorithm. We're doing a feature on solo parents creating memorable experiences for their children. Would you be interested in being interviewed?" I blinked at the turquoise horizon. "I'm not sure I'm interesting enough for that." "On the contrary. Your post has been shared 8,000 times in the past 3 days. Parents are resonating with your caption about unexpected choices. We'd love to feature your story." I agreed to think about it and hung up, bemused. That evening another call came, this time from the resort manager. "Ms. Amanda, we've noticed your family has been exceptionally low maintenance and respectful during your stay. We'd like to offer you a complimentary upgrade to our premium villa for your remaining days, and we'd be honored if you'd consider writing a review of your experience." "That's very generous but unnecessary. Please. We insist. Your children's joy has been noticed by our entire staff. It's refreshing to see a family truly present and grateful." The premium villa was even more spectacular, with a private pool and dedicated butler service. Emma and Jake couldn't believe it was real. On our 10th day I finally called Mom back. "I hope you're satisfied," she began immediately. "Jennifer is devastated. Her children keep asking why their cousins get to go to fancy resorts while they're stuck at home. They're welcome to save for their own vacations," I said calmly. "Don't be smart. You know what I mean. This was excessive. Unnecessary. You canceled the sensible beach house just to prove a point." "I canceled it because you made me doubt my parenting. Then I realized you've been doing that my entire life, making me doubt myself, making me choose everyone else's comfort over my own children's happiness." Silence stretched across the line. "The beach house was $20,000, I continued. "This trip cost about the same, maybe a bit less actually, because I used miles and points I've been accumulating for years through work travel. The difference is that here my kids have their own space, their own rooms, their own privacy. They're not sleeping on floors or giving up beds or being made to feel guilty for wanting basic comfort. But the Maldives is actually affordable if you plan properly and use resources wisely. You assumed it was extravagant because you've always assumed I'm incapable of making good decisions. Jennifer assumed I was being irresponsible because she's never asked about my actual financial situation." More silence. "I have a successful freelance consulting business," I said quietly. "I make good money. I save carefully. I budget responsibly. And I decided my children deserve to feel special for once, without family judgment hanging over us. We were trying to teach them values." You were trying to control me like you always have. The difference is I'm not asking for permission anymore. I heard Dad's voice in the background asking what was happening. I need to go, I said. My kids want to do sunset dolphin watching. Amanda, wait. I hung up. That night, Emma asked the question I'd been expecting. Are we in trouble with Grandma? Probably, I admitted. But not the kind of trouble that matters. What kind matters? Jake asked. The kind where you compromise who you are to make other people comfortable. That's the trouble I'm trying to avoid teaching you. On our last day, the travel magazine interview was published online. It was tasteful, focusing on the importance of creating positive memories and trusting parental instincts. My family photo accompanied the article, though names were kept private at my request. Sarah texted, "Just read the article. You're my hero." Jennifer's message was different. "Everyone is talking about this article. They know it's you." Mom is mortified. I replied simply, "Good." The flight home was bittersweet. Emma and Jake were tanned and relaxed, full of stories about snorkeling adventures and evening fruit bat sightings. They'd made friends with other resort children and learned about marine conservation through the resort's environmental programs. At baggage claim, I turned on my phone fully for the first time in 2 weeks. 73 messages waited. Most were from family members, ranging from angry to confused to surprisingly supportive. Several aunts and uncles had apparently been following the magazine article controversy and had opinions about Mom's public criticism. One message stood out, from my younger brother Marcus, who rarely involved himself in family drama. "Dad called a family meeting about your rebellion. I told them if teaching kids they deserve happiness and personal space is rebellion, then maybe we should all rebel more often. Good job, sis." I smiled and slipped the phone back into my pocket. When we got home, Emma hung the sunset photo in her room. Jake started a journal about the marine life he'd observed. Neither mentioned the family drama or asked when we'd see their cousins again. 3 weeks later, I received a formal invitation to speak at a parenting conference about boundary setting with extended family. The organizer had read the magazine article and thought my perspective would resonate with their audience. Mom called the night before the conference. "I saw the speaking engagement announcement," she said stiffly. "Did you?" "Amanda, you're making this into something bigger than it needs to be. I'm sharing my experience. That's all. You're making me look like a villain. I've never mentioned your name publicly. If you feel villainized, perhaps that's worth examining." She hung up without saying goodbye. The conference went well. Dozens of parents approached me afterward, sharing their own stories of family pressure and judgment. Many were crying. Several thanked me for giving them permission to prioritize their children's emotional needs over extended family expectations. I drove home thinking about those conversations, about the ways we perpetuate patterns of control and guilt across generations, and about how breaking those patterns starts with a single decision to choose differently. Emma met me at the door with a drawing she'd made of our Maldives villa. "Can we go back someday?" she asked hopefully. "Absolutely," I promised. "And next time we'll stay even longer." Jake called out from his room, "And we'll still have our own rooms?" "Always," I called back. "You'll always have your own space." Later that evening, after the kids were asleep, I sat on the back porch with tea and my laptop. The family group chat had been quiet for days, an unusual silence that felt more peaceful than awkward. My phone buzzed with a text from Jennifer. "Can we talk?" I considered ignoring it, then decided that wouldn't serve anyone. "Sure," I replied. She called immediately. "I've been thinking," she started, her voice lacking its usual edge. "About what you said. About control and judgment." I waited. My kids asked me why we never do special trips, just our family. And I realized I don't have a good answer beyond, "That's not how our family does things." Which is exactly what Mom always said to us. "It's a hard pattern to break," I acknowledged. "I'm not apologizing for everything," she clarified. "But maybe I was too harsh about the room sharing thing. Your kids are good kids. They deserved a nice vacation." It wasn't a full apology, but it was something. "Thank you for saying that," I said simply. We talked for another 20 minutes, carefully navigating around deeper issues but finding small areas of understanding. It wasn't resolution, but it was a start. When I finally climbed into bed, I thought about the beach house we'd canceled, the family judgment we'd escaped, and the beautiful memories we'd created instead. Sometimes the right choice is indeed the unexpected one. And sometimes, teaching your children that they deserve happiness is the most important lesson of all.